everybody. Hello, Tim Roberto here. Welcome to another Beachway podcast. I am your host, and I'm an honor to be your host. And I'm very grateful to Beachway, and I'm going to say that every time I open up because it's the truth. I am grateful to Beachway and our guest today. Because they do a tremendous amount of good in the community, and I always say that too, right? The community is only as good as the members that are in it. So today we have a phenomenal guest. I'm very honored. We've known each other, gosh, I don't know, about 15 years at least, right?
At least 15.
At least 15 years, and I've learned so much from her. And we actually worked really close years ago together. I guess kind of like good cop, bad cop, and it was just a wonderful journey. And here we are. We're still on the journey. My dear friend's name is Dina. Dina's been making just such a huge difference in not only her life, but in the lives of many, many others. And she runs our family program at Beachway Therapy Center because, the families are just as effective, right? It's not a spectator sport.
Nope.
Everybody gets to play. And Dina's just has an incredible gift. She empowers the family. She gives them all the tools that they need so they can adjust their lives accordingly. So with that being said, I want to introduce you guys to Dina. Hey, Dina.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's phenomenal, right?
It's exciting.
So you've been how long at Beachway now?
Probably 9 years now.
Yeah, 9
long
years.
Time. Mm-hmm.
So I guess, let's just get right into it, right? Like give a little summary or an explanation of your goals and what's your objectives and what do you want to accomplish every day when you're there?
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, that's a big question.
But
let me say, what I love about Beachway is it's unique that we treat the entire family system. Most treatment centers aren't doing that. So this component is so important. What do I want to do every day? Just make a difference, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel there was anything that pushed you into where you're at right now? Like anything specific, or it's just part of your journey, and the next thing you know, you're like, man, I really like this. This is great working with people and seeing them change.
It started a really long time ago.
Yeah.
When I was really young, a long time ago.
Yeah.
I owned a preschool. You knew that,
Oh
right?
my gosh, yeah.
I owned a preschool in Davie, Florida for 13 years.
13?
Yeah, and during the teacher conferences that I would have with the parents, Johnny was a problem, and they'd want to talk about Johnny, and I was like, I think it starts at home with you guys. And so it kind of led me to get my master's in systems and family systems. And then I say that addiction picked me. I don't know how I landed in addiction, but
I guess it really doesn't matter, right?
No, I did. And the whole system gets sick. Like you said, it's not a spectator sport.
Yeah.
Sometimes the family's sicker than the person that's suffering. So
do you find they run together a lot? So say we have a young adult at Beachway in the substance abuse program. Do you find that there's a lot of parents that also struggle with substance abuse?
Sometimes.
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 You think it's a genetic coding?
Could be.
Could be.
Not always.
Not always.
But it could be. I mean, we're looking at generational reenactment.
Yeah.
At Beachway, so we're always taking a look at the generation before the client and the one before that. What's being trickled down for sure.
Is that kind of like you gather that information like from a genogram or?
Mm-hmm. That's my baby.
Is it?
Yeah, genogram.
It reveals so much, doesn't it? Right.
Yeah, it's the family tree.
Yeah.
And it really engages the client, and you get so much information that you would take weeks to get. Right in one activity. Yeah. I
find a lot of people, that come to us, right? They've been spending their whole lives trying to be understood. And one of my goals is, and I want tell me your thoughts on it. One of my goals is to try to teach them how to understand, rather than be understood, because it's really hard to have other people understand you. I struggle with that, but so I want to. I try to help people to listen to understand, and that will empower you more. Do you find, Are you kind of in that space too, like with the moms and the dads or the husbands or their wives? Like teach them education?
It's a ton of education. I mean, I use my education degree every day in this field.
Yeah.
They don't get what's going on. They think, this is bad for you, cut it out. And it doesn't work like that. They do a lot of motivating. They want to motivate you to change. They want to cheerlead you, lecture you, beg you, scream at you.
Yeah.
The more they motivate, the more resistant the client gets. So.
But where do you think that stems from? Like is that?
They want to fix it.
The parents.
Yeah, they want to fix it.
In trying to do something that's kind of impossible to do because you're really not you can't deny people of their due process, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So you're trying to do something that's virtually impossible.
I mean, you can't control another human being.
No.
I've been trying. You can't. It doesn't work.
So you're trying to do something that's impossible,
right.
Theoretically, right? So if you're trying to do the impossible, is that what causes the resistance?
Yeah, I mean, when you're trying to motivate the client, the message is you're not good enough. I'm judging you. You shouldn't be doing that.
But where does that come from? Like, is it learned behavior? Is this stuff that's been going like piling up over the years from when they were just little and the moms and dads? I think it's really disrespectful to blame parents.
Oh, it's definitely not.
It's very inappropriate. It's unprofessional because they're just operating on what was given them, right?
Yeah, they don't know any different.
But it's the verbal conversations, right? Or don't do it like that, or how many times we got to tell you?
I mean, I think, we're dealing with grown adults. And in this arena, though, the parents very much are treating their grown adult children like children. They're saying, my kid. Well, your kid's 40. It's not your kid, And so, like you said, people are entitled to their process.
But where does that, so you got a 40-year-old, like you said, right? Why would somebody in their mid-60s, 70s, why would they still be doing that? Not letting the person be an adult. What's behind that? I mean,
I think that's the pattern that gets created with this. It's a parallel process. So we've got Joe, the 40-year-old, right? He's mentally obsessed and preoccupied with drinking. And what happens on the other side? Mom becomes mentally obsessed and preoccupied with him.
So she gets addicted to his addiction.
Correct. To him. He's her addiction.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now she's sucked in. And the more she does for him, the better she feels about herself.
Ah, so she's carrying a void too, just like Joe.
Right.
So you got two sick people trying to make each other well, or two sick people, one trying to make another well.
I mean, mom continues to contaminate what's happening for Joe. Mom keeps Joe from getting better.
Wow.
Prolongs the healing when I don't let someone suffer the consequences of the choices that they make.
Yeah, because if you have no consequences, why change?
What would motivate you to change? If all my bills are paid, I have no legal consequences, life's cushiony.
Yeah.
I get to do what I want.
Yeah. Do you find a lot of the parents are doing to their children what was done to them? Is it a generational thing,
sometimes, but you know what we see a lot? That they're overcompensating for something that happened in their own life experience.
Yeah.
So let's say they had a very overbearing mother. Now this mom did the complete opposite.
Like that passive.
So,
right?
Or my mom was so strict that I want to give everything to my child.
I gotcha.
I don't want to do the same thing. So I go with a complete 360 and overcompensate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have is there a common theme that you that you find, with parents, family members? Is there a common that okay, we're going to eventually get to this part, so I have to be prepared because I know it's coming?
Yeah, it's the inability to say no. It's the inability to set a boundary. It's the inability to rock the boat. To get uncomfortable and stay outside your comfort zone. So, always parallel process.
So a lot of people have the difficulty of they just want to be liked, so they can't say no. even though they're a parent?
Well, it's not about being liked. They don't want to rock the boat. They're afraid of the wrath. You know, I always say, like, the client's walking around like this. So if I tell the truth, if I rock the boat, they'll pull the trigger.
But is that like bringing them, like, why is that such a roadblock? Why is that such a hazard? Is that something that they grew up into? Like, because if anybody rocked the boat, they seen mom go nuts or dad lose his
Yeah, I mean,
temper,
a lot of, who likes conflict? You know, anybody that really likes conflict?
No.
And if I'm not well and I'm under the influence, conflict looks really scary.
Yeah, great, yeah.
Punching walls, you know, posturing, getting in my face, or I disappear and you don't know where I am for days and you're afraid I'm going to die. Or what if I ghost you? You know, you told me the truth, I don't like it, so now I'm not talking to you.
Would you consider that like somebody being taken like emotionally hostage?
100%.
Does that fall into like a trauma category or a PTSD category? You know,
for the family? Oh, 100%. The family members are suffering from trauma responses all the time. Nightmares, startle response when the phone rings. Like, oh, here we go again. You know, they can't sleep. Anxiety. They have mental health issues on the other side.
A lot, dude.
They're depressed. You know, when I do the family group, I have moms just cry for an hour and a half. You know?
And it's just, is it relief though? Like, because they know their person's safe?
Yes.
And you're telling them the truth? And like kind of like the whole mixture of your style, your approach?
Well, they feel like they finally have support. They also feel like, oh, I'm not alone. Because I feel like I'm in my house and I don't want anyone to know what's happening.
Everything's good and fine, right?
You know, we look good from the outside, but if you see what's happening on the inside, and then they hear, you know, all the other parents, like, it's the same. It's not the same story, but it's the same.
A lot of duality, right? A lot of
a lot of the same
common
feelings.
denominator. Kind of like a 12-step meeting or something, right?
It's just like,
you know, everybody's they understand because it's kind of like, that's probably why it works so well for you. I mean, you're very, very good at she's unbelievable at what she does, but you know, there's just that common thread, like a 12-step meeting. You know, it works well for many reasons, but I think one of the big reasons or a main reason is because, you know, somebody that doesn't have substance abuse or mental health, you know, or alcoholism, I think it's really hard to understand something you've never experienced. Like, if you really think about it, simplify it, like, how do you understand something you've never experienced? But you put a group of people together, a.k.a. via Dina.
Our family Zoom groups are packed with people.
Packed, right?
Packed. I had this week, Wednesday, I mean, what do we have, 60 clients at Beachway
a little more than that now,
A little more. I had at least 30 families represented.
Wow.
But not one family member, right? I could have mom and dad. I could have siblings and parents. I mean, there's so many people zooming in.
Incredible. So how do you keep something? I mean, we're laughing because it's great. And I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just...
we started this when we couldn't do our in-person family program when COVID hit. So we wanted to have an outlet. So Zoom became the big way to communicate. And I don't think we'll ever get rid of it. I mean, we're doing in-person family stuff at Beachway now, but the Zoom groups, because people aren't in Florida. They're all over the country.
Well, it's very effective, though. It could still be very effective.
It's the camaraderie. That's why you're saying... I mean, that's what's going on in 12-step, right?
100%.
It's the fellowship. So it's the camaraderie and hearing like, oh, I'm not alone. And, oh, wow. You know?
It creates that bond.
They're vulnerable. They're sharing the secrets that they keep because the stigma is, you know, terrible still.
Oh, it's horrible.
Like, it's a moral issue, and it's not.
No, it's not. It's a very serious health condition. You know, I'm so really grateful to all the research. Everybody researches everything. You know what I mean? Like, for God's sakes, if you go to, I don't know, your light switch goes out. You go to YouTube and you watch somebody. You don't even know who they are. You watch them to help you fix your light switch.
You become an electrician in 10 minutes.
And if you don't quite hear it, you put it on reverse. You haven't even met this person. It's kind of like what you're doing in a way. Like you're the YouTube for people. And
they bring their questions. They bring their scenarios. We deal with things in real time because during the group is phone time for the clients at Beachway.
Oh.
And so they'll call while we're having group.
Oh, wow.
Create a little crisis that we could deal with in real time.
I love it.
Johnny's asking me for, candy.
Yeah.
No. Practice vitamin N. No.
Yeah. Yeah, knows a full sentence, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you're doing like a do you use some of the information you also work with the clients in the family program. Do you use some of the information, or no, you keep them separate? So like if mom is saying something, will you use that in group?
I use everything.
And
delicately, right?
Yeah.
I want the families to have confidentiality.
Yeah.
But we treat the whole system. And so the whole system is the client, not just the client at Beachway. So yes, I use all the information. And
they're aware of that, right?
Yes.
So, but that's the power of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you're just saying, take it. I don't care what. Just take it. We all want to get well.
Yes.
Kind of thing, right?
Yeah. I had a client amazing. Putting their mom in crisis during the group on Wednesday.
Uh-huh.
I have a close relationship with the client. I picked up my phone. I text the client, cut it out. Leave your mother alone. Oh, you know what I'm doing to my mother? Yeah, I know right now.
Yeah.
She's telling me.
Yeah, good.
Stop it.
Good for you.
Yeah, we have such close relationships.
Yeah, but that's such a gift because you take it they all love you. They hate you maybe some of them in the beginning.
Well, they don't like the truth. So.
Oh, 100%. And that's what it is. And so I do a lot the substance abuse groups a couple times a week. And I'll have people vent in the group, and I'll say, and I always tell them, stop whining. Listen to what she has to say. You know why? Because I guarantee you by the time you're done, you'll learn to love her. And you'll learn that what she's doing is because she understands, just like me, alcohol kills alcoholics and families. Drugs kill drug addicts and families, whether it's physically or emotionally. Yeah. And, I have all the time, because I think you're, 7 years there now?
9.
9. I think I'm coming into my 6th or 7th year. I was part-time. I'm full-time now.
Yeah.
But together, about in my 7th year maybe. I've yet not to have somebody say, you were right. And I'm like, I'm not trying to be right. I've told you in the group, I've known her for years. And if you just give it a chance and stop taking it so personally.
Right. The truth. They don't like the truth.
Yeah, but you're so successful. The truth.
Well, I'm so passionate about what I do.
Yeah.
And I also tell them, I don't know how much time I have with you. What if I only get to see you these 2 hours? That's it. I have to make a difference like that.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
100%.
Listen, if hugging you got you better, I'd be hugging you. Yeah. But that's not what we need here.
Yeah, I got you.
They need the hard truth.
Yeah.
Because a symptom of what they suffer from is denial.
Yeah.
And they're in a ton of denial.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That's it's like the only illness I know that tells me I don't have a problem.
Right.
It's incredible.
It's the only client that tells the doctor how to treat the client.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, boy, I'll tell you, that family program, what you've done with it has been amazing, and you've empowered so many people. This journey you're doing, this thing.
What we know is the clients that had families that participated, we track them, we watch.
Yeah.
Those clients stay longer periods of time than those that didn't. So even if the client doesn't want to do anything different, but the family is shifting a little bit, and they hold the line and they stay consistent in their new way of doing things, the client gets on board eventually.
I see the magic in front of me. Like, when you work in the space that Dina and I work in, we see people come in at their worst.
Ugh.
right?
Yeah.
And then we see them get well. I mean, Beachway's very unique. The whole team, Dina, the rest of the clinical team, multiple years. Even our clinical director, program director, that have been there over 10 years. It's a certain space to where we see people out there where over and over and over, you know, it's kind of like somebody can say everything's good and fine, which we know the internal reality is not the external appearance.
Right.
But when that thing shifts inside,
you see it, right?
You see it. You see it,
I
right?
say it's between the brow and like here, the transformation.
Yeah.
It's like the whites of the eyes get brighter,
and I think the
amazing.
role you play is so. It's so important because it has nothing to do with age. You know, yes, we all have insight. We're all born with creative intelligence, intellect. But I see it like, and this is my summary of it, like, I think what you weren't given has just as much an effect on how you're showing up as an adult than what you were given.
Yeah.
What you weren't given.
That's trauma. What you needed that wasn't present is traumatic when you have unmet needs.
Yeah.
Right? Because families often say, like, they're in the trauma program. What happened?
Yeah.
And it's not just an event.
Yeah.
It could be the way that they had to live.
Yeah.
You know, with unmet needs.
Yeah. We're high tech here. See that? I just moved the microphone with no hands. Look at that. Phenomenal. But that's what I love about these podcasts. If you want to get a real podcast, it's real. We never rehearse. Everybody always asks me, "What are you going to do?" I say, "I have no idea." It doesn't matter because we love what we do. And Dina and I, and all the guests that you listen to, and hopefully there's more people listening because we have really good advice and we have dedicated people. It's win-win for everybody. So you'll see it live. I'm always live, no editing, none of that. It works better this way.
It's organic. It's fun.
Totally organic.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. So back to, I believe what you didn't get has just as much of an effect on you as an adult than what you did get, because I hear it all the time. I don't know.
Right.
And I'm like,
right.
You know, I mean, I've been at it for 18 years in this space, and one day I was like, I can't take this. I don't know anymore. So I wanted to start learning even more. So, because I can only imagine what would happen to somebody's world if they began to know.
Right. Right. It's like, hello.
Yeah, I mean, I'll hear it. I mean,
I
heard
know, everything was good. I had such a good. I grew up. Everything was great.
Yeah.
Really? Let's talk about it.
I love when I hear that.
What did it look like? And then they start to peel the onion back. Yeah. They have no idea that they were living in such dysfunction.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Another thing I notice a lot too, and they say that I had everything, but you're in treatment.
Right.
If you're in this group with me, it's not going very well because I'm the substance abuse group facilitator.
Right.
So it ain't
me too.
It's not going that. And you know, everything's good, and I always ask, "Well, tell me what's good. You know, what's your good? What's your good?" And blah, blah, blah. And then the classic is, how emotionally was your dad there for you?
Right.
Oh man, it has that very distinct look. Kind of
like deer in headlights.
Correct.
Yeah. It's like I never thought of that.
Yeah.
He wasn't. And you hear, he was always at work, or
correct.
He didn't say I love you ever, or
Yeah. Well, and then if I heard like he's always at work, then I hear, oh, okay, so he potentially, right? So you can't just come right out of the gate. You got to do your work. But potentially, maybe his father's parenting style was a workaholic parent. And that was the parenting style. So to keep it really simple, I'm a very simple guy. If I had grew up in a workaholic environment, right, work is more important than me.
Well, that's where I get my worth.
But as the child, Dad's always...
Dad working, that's where he gets his worth.
He gets his worth, but
right?
but the child is like work. Dad's work is more important to me.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Because when Dad comes home, it's like, not right now, son. I've had a hard day. Or
Right.
You know, somebody's own version of that. Mm-hmm. And then you can get going, and a lot of them go, wow, man, I never looked at it like that. So, okay, what's one of the basic human needs? Love? Okay, yeah, that's cool. Emotional security.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't get the basics, I mean, at what point do you start getting a little wobbly, you know, as a child?
Yeah, early on.
Early on, right? Insecurities. Doing things that you normally wouldn't do.
Acting out,
getting the attention, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. These kids are always seen as oppositional, defiant. Sometimes not so much. They're just looking for some attention, someone to pay attention.
And have they learned over the years that if I act out, I get some type of attention,
sure,
better than nothing.
There's a benefit.
Right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Then we get adults that have temper tantrums because it spills over.
Yeah.
It doesn't go away.
Yeah.
So we've got adults acting like 8-year-olds all over the place.
Right?
Yeah. The behaviors make sense. You just have to take a look at where they came from.
Yeah. Do you have any roadblocks?
With what?
When you're working with families, or, you know, if we get a mom or a dad or a family member that happens to catch this episode and they've been watching, all of a sudden, I really want to hear that. What's a road? Maybe I'm a roadblock. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I think a roadblock is it's hard for parents in this arena to do what they need to do because it goes against their maternal and paternal instinct. It feels counterintuitive. So they feel like what I'm telling them to do is not loving. And this is hard for me to tell parents, and it's hard for them to hear. But when they do for their kid what they shouldn't do, it's selfish. It eases their anxiety. So they have to have their own coping skills to manage their anxieties outside of their loved one that's not well. You know, they're soothing themselves by engaging with the sick person, and it's keeping the person sick.
Boy, you really do have your work cut out for you, don't you?
Yeah.
You're going up against some formidable champs.
What I say is, it's not your loved one's responsibility to get sober or to get well or to be the human being you want them to be, so you could have peace in your life. Having peace in your life is your work. You get to be at peace whether the client gets better or not. Okay, that sounds good, right?
Yeah.
But let's look at the flip side. How do you stay at peace when someone you love is walking into a burning building? How do you stay peaceful when you know your loved one is self-destructing?
I would say that's probably one of those impossible things, right?
Yeah, I had a parent ask me, so how do I do that? Like, can I be 100% at peace if he's not well? No. No, love's powerful. Of course not. But you also deserve not to be hijacked 24/7. Because how do you function in your life? You know, I tell a parent, during the Zoom group, I ask a very important question. I ask 3 questions every week. Same 3 questions in the same order. The first question is, how much space is your loved one renting in your head today on a scale from 1 to 10? If you're a 10, I had someone say 52 once. I don't know where they came up with that number, but they did. But if you're a 10, if your body is home, but your brain is at Beachway with your loved one, how are you functioning? How are you going to work? How are you a wife to your husband? How are you a mother to your other children? Like, you have to be able to function. So we want you a 5 or lower. And we give you skills for that.
Yeah.
I, teach so many ways for them to decrease their anxiety. The second question, what are you no longer willing to do? And they go, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Well, your behavior has to change.
Yeah.
What are you no longer willing to do? What are your non-negotiables? That's another way to ask it. And the third question, what will the action plan be in the likely event, it's important, that your loved one attempts to put you in crisis, doesn't want to follow the plan, or they go back to self-destructive patterns of behavior. They don't want to entertain that question.
No.
No, they want Beachway to cure all this.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Yeah. It's going to be great now.
Yeah.
So.
And putting them into crisis, they know that works. It's learned behavior.
Yes.
So you can learn like really toxic and dysfunctional behaviors, but you can also learn behaviors that help you recover.
Of course.
And learn how to manage all this stuff, right? Because left untreated, it's a disaster on both sides.
It's grave. The prognosis is grave.
People
are dying. I mean, we just lost 3 clients recently.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's not stopping. It's still out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say time. We need time. Right? Don't we need time to work on this thing?
Time tells everything.
I mean, 30 days is not much of anything.
Yeah.
So the year of healing is something that I really like to teach to the families.
Oh, nice.
They go, year? They have to be at Beachway for a year? No. Although, sure, if we could. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
But a year, the next 12 consecutive months, practicing new ways of being and a new mindset consistently over time.
It's like the mind and the soul gets kind of rewired, reworked, right? It's like a habit. Like recovery's a discipline, don't you think?
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a practice discipline. Mm-hmm. Would you say codependency itself is selfish? Because are you really doing it for the other person, or are you doing it for yours?
Well, that's what I said. When I'm doing for you what you could do for yourself, it's because it eases, it soothes me.
Is that fair to say it's selfish, codependent?
Yes, it's selfish. It also, it makes me feel like I'm worthy. It fills my cup, right? Because I have a need to be needed, and if you're not well, that'll fill it.
So as a family therapist, a licensed family therapist, would that be like one thing that would intrigue you? Like, I want to know what's causing that that need, that dysfunctional need.
Where did that come from? I always ask, where did the need to be needed come from? Let's take a look at your own history. So maybe you had an alcoholic dad. And so now this is showing up in your own life. Yeah, definitely. Take a look at that.
It's amazing. She's exactly where she needs to be in her life and in this journey. It's amazing because we have a mental health track, we have a substance abuse track, we have a family track, we have a trauma track. I think we've been carving that about 8 or 9 years now, and they come from all over the country. The team that we have is phenomenal. I guess I'll put it out. Anytime you want to, I'll give Dina an opportunity when we wrap up if she wants to give email or you want to contact. Because this is everywhere I go. There it is. And it runs from Park Bench to Park Avenue and everything in between. It just does. It affects everybody, all walks of life. So we have our trauma track and we have a first responders track and all these different tracks, modalities. They're all very unique, right? And they all have different kind of needs and parts and requirements but at the same time I think I think it just all boils down to I think everybody has trauma and
everybody's walking around wounded and then if I'm wounded I don't take good care of myself. I'm hurting. Everyone's walking around in pain. So I always say everyone at Beachway has the same diagnosis, and they look at me. No, I don't. Everybody there has an inability to take good care of themselves. And then it manifests in all different ways. And we have to take a look at where'd that come from? What's going on? But you're talking about our team. I mean, the team's been together for a good decade. I mean, this is a well-running machine.
Oh, yeah.
From the top down. I mean, our clinical director, Carrie, top notch.
Oh my gosh,
and
first
the
class.
Philosophy that we have is it's helping people get well.
Very well.
I mean, we have a huge alumni program because of the people that work at Beachway.
We just had Craig on the podcast before you. He was the episode before you. He celebrated a year. Veteran, served in Iraq, had some heavy experiences. And, I remember when I first had him in substance because he went into the trauma track.
Yeah, I remember him.
He was, he's hurt.
broken.
Very broken when he first, and to see him celebrate, and he came to the alumni, like, I'm telling you, man. And then he spoke for me in one of my groups, because I think the power of example, I think, will always be powerful, you know, because you can, you know, you burn your hand on the stove once and everybody, you know, right. or like we can whittle our life down to an orange light on the stove. Like, oh, the stove's hot. Oh, thanks, I didn't. So the light's on. Right. We listen to a light. But I think that's intellectual. But I think when I can put somebody in front of you,
it's inspiring.
It's inspiring. It brings out that humanity in us, you know, that seeker, the explorer, the adventurer, how humans are. It's kind of like, you know, every time, if you know what it's like to feel like the underdog, every time you watch a movie, an underdog, you're always at the end of your seat, like, at the end, come on, guys. Yeah, like, rooting for the underdog, you know? And I really believe in the power of example, you know, because there's power in a shift, in a mind shift, you know, in a thinking shift. There's power in recovery, like, because the opposite, right, of addiction is connection. And when somebody's connected, you know, this is just me, man. Game recognizes game and real recognizes real. And it's just that thing, I think you used the word before, it's intuitive. It's in us, you know? Just like I tell people a lot, everything you need to know is already in you.
100%. I say it a little different. I say, you're just out of alignment with your inner being.
Oh, I love that.
It knows. Somehow you got out of alignment. And you could see it when they start to get a little closer. Oh, yeah. And the lights start going on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Next thing you know, they're on time for group.
Right. They're showing up. Yeah. I'm like, you're in there.
Start showing up, yeah.
Yeah. Or I say, you know, I don't care what the story of your birth was, but I'd say, you know, but there was a day when you were born, even if it was a nurse, they looked at you and they said, what? Oh, perfect. Yeah. And then the world got a hold of you.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah, and then the ego starts creeping in. So we're all born with 100 pieces. And slowly but surely, you know, I got this. Don't worry, I got this. I got this. And then you become programmed to be something you're not. No, right? You get so, like, separate.
So lost.
You know, I really believe in this walk. I believe in, like, you know, life. It's so magical. It's so mysterious. It's so creative. You know, like Dina and I, like, I'm not, you know, every once in a while I take a left turn. You might think this is a left turn, or you might think it's a right turn. I don't know. All I know is I landed on the surprise, the egg. Out of millions, right? Yeah, I made it.
I'm here.
Woohoo! Right?
Yeah.
Just think if another one made it.
I know.
And for some crazy reason, you're still listening to Dina and I. There's no way I would look the same. I know she wouldn't. I might have had hair. I might have been a lefty, not a righty. You know, I might have been 6'5", might have been 5. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I try to teach people, too, in just a practical way, because sometimes we complicate the heck out of it. We become like the smartest, dumbest people we know. So I try to make it simple, like, you're perfect just the way you are.
Exactly the way you are.
Right? You just don't believe it. And I think when we have this perfectionism to us, when we're not authentic to us, to it, we kind of get out here a little bit. And when we're out here, we're all over the place.
Yeah.
Like nuts.
Spazzing
out, right? And you got mom losing hers and dad coming home, you know, whatever. And
No, I know.
Right?
I tell them, they don't like this. I tell them, you're not as sick as you think you are.
Oh, I love that. Do you think they use it as a title?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, like, remember we said behavior makes sense. So, you know, if I'm sick, I could get attention. If I'm not well, I can get the attention that I've been craving. And sometimes I wear what I'm suffering from, like a little cozy blanket, you know?
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is, yes, they're not well, but wellness and their healing is not as far away as they think it is. It's like right around the corner. If you just start to click in, it's right there. And they don't have to do it alone. Look, come on, we'll take you.
Oh, yeah.
We're taking them. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You don't have to do this by
I won't
yourself.
work harder than them, but I'll work alongside them.
Well, that's a message for the families, because often they're working harder. They're more invested in the wellness. Yeah. And people aren't ready till they're ready. Family will be ready for change well before the client will be.
Do you find do you find sometimes, like, or do you know, like, if I empower the parents, the client has a better chance of making... Yes,
it'll speed up the process. Get in your own lane.
Get
out of the way.
There you go.
Move over.
Yeah.
You know, I had a father say, and I always say get in your own lane. But he said, but can I drive, like, in the blind spot? You know, the blind spot in the car. I go, I kind of like that. Sure. Just don't let your loved ones see that you're close. You're there. Okay. Like, get out of the way. Let them feel like, empower them. They're capable.
Like, I can do this.
Yeah. Because what message do you give them if you're doing everything for them?
If you're always rescuing it, right?
Yeah. And then I get like, well, I guess I'm not capable of this. Yeah.
And do you think then they hang on to that identity? Like,
of course.
Like my illness.
I'm sick. Blah, blah, blah. I can't do this.
But they're not their illness. That's like one of the greatest lies. You're not your illness, right?
No, 100%.
You're just operating on what was given you. And I think you do such an amazing job. Beachway does such an amazing job trying to find or discover what wasn't given you.
Yeah.
Because it has such a huge... it's like this huge contribution to your recovery and getting well, because, like I said before, so many people just say, I don't know. I don't know.
I also think, though, the way that we teach transparency in the system, and people aren't talking to each other.
What do you mean by the system?
The family system. Everybody's walking on eggshells. No one's telling anybody how they feel or what's really going on. So we ripped that Band-Aid off at Beachway. You see it with the impact letters and everything we do.
Oh, yeah.
We're just laying it all out there.
Do you think that reduces the skill set or the ability, like the art of communicating when everything's just good and fine?
I hate that word. Nothing's fine.
Yeah.
Like, if you're at Beachway, nothing's fine.
No, but like before they get to us.
What do you mean?
You know, because it's years in the making, right? The family's breaking down over. So, like, if nobody talks about anything, simply put, do you think that's teaching the kids, or maybe everybody, that our feelings don't matter?
Of course.
Right? That doesn't matter. Nobody's going to listen anyway.
Yeah.
Or you're going to be told that what's the classic? Suck it up.
Yeah.
Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I'm 5 years old.
Cut it out. I'll give you something to cry about.
Yeah. I'm 4 years old. What? I don't get that. I know, it's crazy. If we just happen to catch that one person right now.
Right now?
Yeah, that one mom or that one dad or that one person that needs help. Do you have some advice that you would give them, like, on the fly like that? Like they're looking, they just don't know what to do. Pick up the phone.
Ask for help. That's a tool in the toolbox. Ask for help. Call. You're not alone, I would say. Get to therapy of your own. Get to a support group. Go to your church. Go to your temple. Like, reach out. It's okay to say that things are not okay. That's important. Everyone's hiding. They're afraid to say.
So there's doctors out there. There's police officers out there. First responders, nurses, teachers, professors. Everybody. It's amazing what we're willing to do and learn. But the phone or asking for help is one of the most I call it that strange mental blank spot. Like, like when I'm doing groups, I said, you're a nurse? Oh, okay. Did you stand up in class every time you went to school, your nursing school, and start debating with the teacher? Did you get up and walk out and slam the door? Like, well, no, of course not. I'm like, yeah, because you wanted to be a nurse.
Right.
how bad do you want to be healthy in an emotional way, right?
Yeah.
How do you want your emotional security to look like? What do you want to do? So it's amazing, but I always find that, like, gosh, how do I move these people out of that strange mental blank spot? One of the things I try to tell them, keep it simple, right? Like 50% of your battle's getting here.
Yeah. And I always ask, when did you know you needed to come here? It's never like yesterday. I knew a decade ago.
That's a great question. Do you have anything on that sticks out with you, like response wise? Like, whoa.
When they say that?
Yeah.
When they answer my question?
Yeah.
Like, how long?
Yeah. Is there anything that comes to you right now? Like, I know you've heard a lot of stuff over the year. You know, just like, wow, that was like intense, or that was deep.
Like, what got in the way? Yeah. So now listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, shut up. Now listen.
I mean, there's so many factors. There's so many moving. Is there a common thing, though, that, like, if you had to put something down on the table that gets in the way?
Of what? Of asking for help?
Yeah.
I mean,
ego.
People think they could do it on their own. We suffer from this thing, like, we're the exception. You know, it's not me. It's not, you know, I can do it, or I don't need to, or that won't happen to me. Yeah.
I think a little fear in there, too.
Oh, definitely.
Right?
Yeah, a lot of fear.
I got a
People are scared.
I got a Tim tip for you today.
What's that?
This is only because you're watching the podcast, okay?
Tip.
Fear-based decisions only create more fear. Remember that one. Fear-based decisions only create more fear.
And you can do what you have to do with your fear. You could take your fear with you. You could do it scared.
Because it's instinctual.
I mean, you know.
But it gets so out of whack, though, right? Like unbound. Like fear is good to a certain extent, right?
It protects you, right? Because you want to stay safe. But I remember I did a ropes course. Do you know what a ropes course is? And I had to climb a telephone pole.
Yeah.
And when you have to stand up onto the telephone pole.
Yeah.
40 feet up in the air, and the pole feels like it's moving, but it's not. And they said that right before you step up, whatever thought you're having at that moment is the thought that keeps you from thriving in your life. I'm hugging the pole, and they're asking you, what are you thinking? What are you thinking?
Oh, wow.
And I said, I'm scared.
Yeah.
That's all I came up with.
Yeah.
I'm scared. And the coach at the bottom said, do it anyway. Take it with you. Can you take it with? Can you be scared and do it anyway? That never even dawned on me. I was like, yeah, okay. And I stepped up onto the pole, and then you have to jump and catch a trapeze bar. And soon as you do that, what do you think happens?
Release. Freedom.
Amazing. I want to climb it again. I want to do it again. That was amazing. Because I felt proud of myself. I did it. But you can take your fear. I tell them all the time, this stuff's going to be scary. You know, there's 3 things that we're all trying to avoid. Pain. Can't.
Oh, yeah.
Hard work.
Yep.
Everybody wants the easy road.
Yep.
And uncertainty. Things are going to be uncertain. But we do it anyway.
I guess so. That last one, I guess that's where faith would come in, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, was there a fall net underneath that pole you climbed?
Oh, well, you were in a harness. There was no net. I don't know. No, there was no net.
Oh, because you had a harness. I didn't think a harness.
No, but there were people holding your harness. You weren't going to fall to the floor. Woohoo! That was awesome. That was an amazing experience.
Yeah. So I think we're going to wrap it up.
All right. This was cool.
That was great, right?
Yeah. Now we're going to wrap it up now that I'm chill.
Well, let's keep
No, it's fine. It just took a while.
Yeah, I just wanted to.
So that's a good point, right? Because I'm human, and I bet there's some clients from Beachway that eventually will see this, and sometimes they don't realize I'm human.
Yeah.
I did this scared. I was scared doing this, but I did it anyway.
Yeah, it's
I pushed through my comfort. I was outside my comfort zone.
Yeah, and because
right.
I think it's phenomenal, because if you didn't show up and you didn't push through,
right,
somebody might not have heard what we did today. You know, I love doing what we do.
I hope we said something that was worthwhile. I think we did.
I think so. Yeah. I know.
Even if it was just the one thing that you said, which was that people matter. That's so important.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Everybody matters. Because I see what people do when they walk into that space. Like, I do matter. I see how many other people they help. It's just, and I think when you boil it, when it's all said and done, obviously it's all said and done.
Yes.
But I think that's the purpose of life. I think that's the journey. The whole journey is to pass the baton to others.
Yes, to be in service.
To be in service, right? So people after us can live.
Yes.
And if they're struggling, they can learn how to live, because there's people that came before us that taught us, and it just, I think that's the whole cycle of life, like the passing the baton, like, so life, because, you know, like a love is just a word, you know, until you give it meaning.
It's an action word, by the way.
100% until you give it meaning.
Yeah.
But I really believe people, you, Dina, me, you, we're the meaning. Yeah. I really believe that. And
we have to act with urgency. Because I want to quote my mom. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to get emotional.
Yeah, that's good, though.
She said it's a short story.
She what?
It's a short story.
Oh, man, I love that. Yeah.
It goes like that.
Well, at 62 years old, my dad was in the Marine Corps. I was all jacked up. Like, wow, what the hell's wrong with you, crap? Dr. Roberto's son. He was a well-known doctor in Manhattan. I'm going into the Marine Corps. Other people are like, what are you doing? You're Dr. Roberto's son. I'm like, I want to see what the other half lives like. I was just that guy.
Yep.
I was just that guy. And my father, he's Italian. He came from Naples, from Italy to Brooklyn in '53.
Oh, wow.
But he met my mom at the Italian hospital in London. He was doing his residency there. So he came, she waited a year, and she came in '54, 5 boys later. We all struggled with substance abuse, mental health. My mother, I'm getting emotional too, because when I was a kid, I was the youngest, you know. My oldest brother, Nicky, had 8 years on me. There's a huge difference when you're 10 and he's 18.
Sure.
So I was the baby. And I always used to ask my mother, I say, Mom, you know, because she cooked everything fresh all day, each day. Went to the supermarket, you know.
Yeah, every day. My mother was in King Cullen every day.
Every day, right? Oh, my God, King Cullen. I haven't heard of that in so long.
Every day.
Oh, my gosh. Wow, that's bringing me back to, like, Christides in Manhattan.
Oh, yeah, Christides. We have a Christides on Long Island.
You do?
Yeah, of course.
Wow. See how we just took off
I know,
again?
where are we going?
But I always used to say to my mom would be like, Mom, why do all the men and people they see you, they always go like this to you? And she's like, well, it's either they think I'm really nice, this nice little English, because she had a beautiful English accent, or they feel sorry for me. And I'm at 10, I'm like, I think I kind of know what you mean, because my household was pretty crazy.
Had to be crazy with all those boys.
But my dad would always say, what the heck are you doing? It goes so fast. Do something with your life.
Yeah. I know. I said yesterday in group to a 23-year-old, I said, I know you don't believe it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't believe it.
I didn't believe it either.
I said, you're 23. You're going to be 50 before you know it.
Yeah.
And just looking at me. But it's true.
I'm 62.
I know. I'm 55. How did that happen?
Poof. It's all on loan, my friends. Nothing belongs to us, really. If you really think about it, God forbid something happened to you or us. I don't know, your car payment, pretty much everybody's got a car payment or whatever payment you have. You know, we'll see whose car it is. God forbid something happened to you.
Yeah.
We'll see God forbid something. It's all on loan, my friends. Enjoy this life.
Yeah.
How would somebody get in touch with you?
They could reach me at Beachway.
Yeah.
My email is Dina, Dina.s, as in Sam, at beachway.com.
Awesome. You can call the main line, too. I'm Tim.R at beachway.com. You can email me, either one of us, and whatever we can do to help you within reason.
We will.
Give us the opportunity to show you that there's help out there, there's good people out there, there's legitimate people out there, regardless of what you're doing.
If you're the family member of someone suffering, you need a team of people to help you. You cannot do this alone, and your loved one who's suffering can't do this alone. Parallel process. So they need a team. We'll be on the team.
Gosh, yeah.
Well, I'll sign up. I'm always signing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been chosen, I think. People
been.
like you or me and the Beachway team. Like I was saying before briefly, it's a dark space.
It is.
And it's a very challenging space. But, when you're called to the space by something greater than yourself, it becomes more of a passion and a love.
Yeah.
And that's what drives the success rate, of your career, my career, Beachway, and everything that we do for people.
I think when you get to Beachway, you can be hopeful.
Oh, yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of, like you said, darkness.
Oh, yeah.
And people resign that this is just the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
But if you found Beachway, I don't know, a lot of people just find us.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's just finding us. Nothing's by accident.
Well, after 16 years, our reputation's
impeccable.
Yes. That alone.
I mean, we're a 5-star facility.
Yeah, 5-star, yeah.
But you can be hopeful.
Yeah.
Again, cautiously optimistic because we need time, right? We need time to work all this stuff out, but you can be hopeful.
Do you have a favorite book to empower somebody?
We recommend Codependent No More by Melody Beattie.
Yeah.
But there's a book called Something More that I like to recommend. The whole title is Something More: Excavating Your Authentic Self.
Wow.
It's a great book.
Wow.
The book Us by Terrence Real is great. And I'm in the new book called The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins.
Like when you say in it, you're actually
I'm reading it.
You're going through
it. And it's another language to talk about surrendering.
Yeah.
And it's great. And it has a really good chapter for parents who have loved ones in addiction. And the chapter's something like, if you continue to rescue, they'll continue to drown.
Wow.
Something like that. And that's pretty powerful.
And I'm going to wrap it up with this.
Okay.
So you and I just had an individual session. I'm your client.
Uh-huh.
I'm really sick.
Yeah.
Not doing well. What assignment would you give me to complete before our next session? Say I was going to see you at the conclusion of this one, I don't know, in 2 weeks. Say, Tim, let's schedule in 2 weeks. What would you give me? What were I'm new. I just came in. I told you all kinds of stuff.
All right.
What would you give me?
Well, I want you to create a list of 50 ways to nurture your soul. 50 ways to self-soothe that are healthy.
Like take myself on a little picnic or something?
Sure.
Go to that kind of stuff?
That kind of stuff. I mean, my list and your lists are different.
Yeah.
But you need a big list.
Okay.
And the reason you need a big list is because you're going to be practicing using some of these skills, things that work for you daily.
All right, I'm in.
3 or 4 that you can do every day for yourself.
Okay, I'm in.
But the reason I want 50 is because when a tsunami hits, that day everything's going good, but all of a sudden something shows up you weren't expecting, you need arsenal. And so maybe just, taking a walk isn't going to cut it that day.
Okay.
So, and I want to give you a tip. On the list has to be ask for help. That has to be a way to,
That's so hard, though.
I know. But
I'll push through it with your help.
But you already did it. You came here.
Ooh, see?
So you could do it.
See what she just did to me? She got me. What do you say to that?
You're good. And be grateful. You're going to text me one thing every morning by 9 a.m.
Okay.
One thing you're grateful for.
Okay.
Because an attitude of gratitude, you're in charge of your own thoughts, believe it or not.
Yeah, but I do believe that.
Yep.
They've just been astray for a while.
Yeah, but if you can stop being so sloppy with your thinking and get a hold of what's happening up there and have an attitude of gratitude, find the lesson, the opportunity, the gift in every obstacle that's showing up, your whole life will change.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it.
All right.
Yeah,
I believe in you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I believe in you.
Yeah, I need that right now because I don't believe in myself. So thank you for that.
Of course.
See, this is what we learn in school, right? Role playing, but it's so effective. It really is because it is. So with that being said, email one more time, Dina.
Dina, Dina.s@beachway.com. Can I give my phone number?
Whatever you want.
I use my cell phone. Everybody has it. It's fine. It's out there. It's 954-304-6508. Text me, call, whatever you need.
One of the best I know, and I know a lot of people.
Thank you, Tim.
Very, very fortunate to have her in my life. She's taught me a lot of things, and I love hearing about her in different stages, and it's great. It's called empowerment. It's called relief. It's called recovery. It's called connection. It's called doing what I don't want to do, because that's the secret sauce. Again, I'm tim.r@beachway.com. I'm all over social media. You want to reach out to Dina or I, come for a tour. If I give you the tour, I'll have time to take you to lunch. Because you're worth it. And your health is worth it, and your family's worthy, and your children are worthy.
Yeah, show up. Come to Beachway. It's beautiful. The campus is amazing.
Yeah. I'll see if Dina will be around here too.
I'm there every day except for Wednesday. When I do my Zoom groups, I do it from the comfort of my home office. But I'm at Beachway all the time.
Yeah. So am I. So. I hope you heard something. We're always after that one person, because if we can get that one person and they get well, that means the baton still has the opportunity to pass again. I wish you all the best. Have a great rest of your day. Peace and love. Thank you, Dina, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you guys have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.